UJIA gets new baggage scanner. Housing scheme for professional groups to be completed in August, and Pick It Up campaign moves to Itabali Region 7. You're watching Weekly Digest, a government information agency program that keeps you updated on what the administration has been doing. With the details, I'm your host, Vinya Tameshwar. Postgraduate education has significantly boosted the capacity of the public health sector. The most recent will see 7 local doctors undertaking a residency program in internal medicine, infectious disease. The program is a result of a collaborative effort among the Health Ministry, the GPHC, University of Guyana, and the U.S. government under the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief PEPFAR initiative. It is a 3-year program designed by educators from the University of Maryland Institute of Human Virology.
You will be seeing a number of our faculty coming down here to help, because education is not just about one person, it's about multiple people. And the insight and directives, Dr. Rambran, Dr. Cummings, Mr. Amir, Mr. Khan, all of this collaboration is what creates the program. It's not any one person. And getting the structure there to provide the education and to provide the desire to learn and to become self-teachers is what is critically important in programs like this. And I have to say, having just started a couple of days ago, we have a group of residents here who have an extraordinary desire to learn, an extraordinary desire to succeed, and to want to take things to the next level. And that's really what we need.
This program follows on the development of postgraduate education at the GPHC in affiliation with UG, which was initiated since 2006. It was supported by a new 5-year grant from the CDC under the PEPFAR initiative.
Guyana is benefiting significantly from the contributions of PEPFAR. It's one of the main contributors now to our effort, and it has many other programs, US-funded programs. We want to recognize that.
The project's sustainability will be reinforced through the creation of a detailed strategy for fully transitioning the program to GPHC's Institute of Health Science Education and UG's Health Sciences faculty at the end of the 5-year grant. Regional environmental health officers were re-enlightened about their roles and responsibilities regarding the upkeep of the environment of the areas for which they are responsible. Of importance was the fact that they have become fully aware of their duties under the law.
The workshop sought to strengthen working relations, and discussions focused on the role and responsibilities of persons in the environmental health field, such as the environmental health officer, environmental health assistant, and the senior environmental health officer. Based on the theme, Enhancing the Practice of Environmental Public Health in the Local Government System, it was determined that there is a need for improvement.
A few weeks ago, the staff of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development had its annual retreat. And in this retreat, from the ministers, PS, and other staff, we examined the performance of local government in the various sectors, in the various programs. And we determined that when we look at the investment in these various sections, in these various programs, the returns were not satisfying enough. Not only satisfying to us who have oversight, but satisfying to the people who we are supposed to serve, the residents of the communities that we serve. So we determined that the services delivered were not adequate, and we needed to do something about delivery, timeliness of delivery, quality of delivery.
The session is in keeping with the ministry's thrust to develop and enhance the capabilities of the human resources of the ministry and its organs.
We're having this workshop because you're not performing to the best of your ability. And so a quick perusal of the program will tell you that I don't think some of you understand what is your role within the regional as well as the neighborhood democratic councils.
Also addressing the environmental health officers was the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Shamdeo Prasad, who discussed the role of the officers under the law, which requires them to be licensed to practice annually and participate in continuous medical education.
The Ministry of Agriculture is placing focus on the needs assessment and the way forward for the development of the agro-processing industry in Guyana.
Agro-processors, both local and regional, had a chance to examine the need for quality, packaging, labeling, and consistency in production. Also examined was the need for a Guyana brand and a warehouse depot to be conceptualized to cover and house all products made in Guyana.
The depot idea is not a bad idea, and therefore I will discuss with my technical team, because I believe that the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Commerce can work together. We can, for the time being, for example, set aside a day every week or a day every month where the producers bring their products to one place, like the National Exhibition Center, Guy Expo Center. Because a lot of times, like today, there are parts of the compound that is not in use. So we could set aside a day every week or a day every month. Everybody bring their products, and the whole country know that on this particular day, agro producers are with their products there, so people could come pick up the products at one place.
An appeal was made for agro-processors around the country to join the Guyana Agro-Processing Association, GAPO. It was observed that farmers will never realize the full potential of their produce if they did not go beyond growing and selling their crops, hence the necessity for the agro-processing sector towards adding value to their products.
Cash crops were always our backyard product, kitchen garden, again, to supply our families. Few of our grandparents expanded that production and became entrepreneurs. The younger farmers are looking to export our cash crop to ensure that there is less importation within the region of the Caribbean. Mega farms are starting, and a diversification of the products that we have.
At the conclusion of the seminar, it was recognized that there was a need to maintain and in some cases work towards the achievement of national, regional, and international standards, quality, and packaging. Additionally, a wholesale depot exclusively for local products should be established for easy access by distributors across the country, and further continued support financially and technologically would be welcomed from government for small and medium producers with constraints.
As the Justice Sector Modernization Project advances, a training session was recently held for representatives of justice sector institutions on the establishment of criminal and civil justice committees.
The training focused on the role of the committees, structures and reporting relationships, guidelines for conducting the affairs of the committees, and their performance framework. The committees, which will comprise representatives from the public and private sectors and civil society drawn from Demerara, Essequibo, and Berbice, will be headed by the Chancellor of the Judiciary, Karl Singh. Some of the issues affecting the criminal justice system include the delay in completion of cases, number of adjournments, lengthy time of trials, overcrowding of prisons, improved computerization of records, and alternative sentencing options. Each of these committees has their respective functions, and it is expected that these committees will assist in enabling more speedy trials in courts and a more efficient court system which is accessible to the wider community and which delivers timely and fair results. The program is funded by a loan from the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. It embraces several concepts that are intended to modernize the system and make it more accountable, transparent, and efficient.
There's more of the Weekly Digest to come. Please stay tuned.
Great improvements have been made in road construction and rehabilitation under the Hinterland Road Program. In the Moruco sub-region, Region 1, 60 miles of road was rehabilitated and constructed, while in Region 4, 12 miles of the St. Cuthbert's Trail has been transformed into an all-weather road.
Community development plans will serve as a springboard for advancing Amerindian development. With the signing of the agreement with the United Nations Development Fund for the release of the GRIFT funds, soon 27 communities will begin implementation of their plans, with most of them focusing on various aspects of farming.
The East Bank Demerara is undergoing significant transformation as the drive to ensure that Guyanese own their own homes continue. The Housing Ministry's vision is to distribute 30,000 house lots on that corridor alone within the next 5 years.
Preparations are on the way for another phase of the Hinterland electrification program, even as 11,000 solar panels were distributed last year. Government's vision is to ensure that every hinterland household has access to electricity within 5 years.
The Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport plans to establish satellite music schools across the country. This comes as government continues to revive the local music industry. Recognizing that a large number of persons could not read or write music, government established a music school, which has seen major successes to date. Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport Dr. Frank Anthony, while addressing the National Music Festival Awards ceremony, stated that satellite music schools will be instituted in far-flung areas so that persons across the regions can be part of this initiative.
There are a lot of people out there who are interested in music. And if people are interested, then we would like to teach them. And that's what we are planning to do at our school. And the hope is that we would also be able to, at some point in the future, build satellite schools where you will see what we now have in Georgetown replicated in the other regions, so that people there can also benefit from the kind of services that we offer here in Georgetown.
The ministry has made calls for persons to get on board, and so far over 100 persons have applied. While the National Music School cannot accommodate such a large number of students, with the establishment of the satellite schools, each of those applicants will be part of the program.
We have been looking at music in a very comprehensive way, different aspects, music, songs, and so forth. And we want to see this grow. And every year we are adding bits and pieces and new components to it so that we can grow it.
Additionally, the National Dance School has also been established in Regions 2, 5, and 10, with the latest one in Region 6. As a result, more persons have access to these programs, with efforts being placed on revising the curriculum for the National School of Dance, so that persons can be certified at the end of their training. Currently, 25 students are involved in Region 6 dance program. Suitcase traders and others who are bent on depriving the Guyana Revenue Authority of revenue will now face jail time and fines for undeclared commercial goods. A new baggage scanner was recently installed to monitor incoming cargo at the Chedijagan International Airport.
The new scanner was acquired through the National Competitive Strategy Unit's Support for Competitiveness Program, SCP. This $27 million Government of Guyana program was funded by the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, to enhance Guyana's competitiveness and contribute to increased levels of private investments and exports. In early 2012, the need for such a device at the airport was recognized by the Guyana Revenue Authority in order to expedite the processing of incoming cargo so as to maximize revenue collection.
This scanner will assist the GRA in improving its image at the airport, because it is a system that has been tested, proven and tested to be one that can produce the goods. Meaning, if you want to walk the straight and narrow path of being honest, it would assist you. If you want to walk the crooked path and make incorrect declaration, it would detect you. We have joined the countries around the world who have introduced these kind of modern equipment to assist in carrying out a very onerous responsibility we have, and one that is frequently plagued with a lot of accusation of us not discharging our duty with satisfactory levels of responsibility.
It was allocated a substantial amount of funding under the SCP for capacity building, streamlining of internal procedures, and procurement of equipment. In keeping with recommendations made at the level of the public-private dialogue mechanism established under the National Competitive Council, the $14.8 million scanner was procured.
We want to ensure that we have put in place all the necessary mechanisms and arrangements that can assist us in performing that role.
The monitoring and control of exported goods has become mandatory by customs to aid in the fight against illegal trade and to safeguard the integrity of consignments leaving the various ports. With this new scanner, it is envisioned that with time persons will comply willingly with customs regulations. The GRA is committed to eradicating corrupt practices in the area of revenue collection.
The scheme for professional groups in Eccles, East Bank, Demerara is seen as a priority project, and the Housing Ministry is making every effort to see its completion by August this year.
The scheme will see development of a semi-gated community within the wider Eccles housing scheme, in which 41,200 square foot houses will be constructed. Total cost of this package will be just below 15 million Ghana dollars. Such a package in an area such as Eccles from a private developer will cost about $25 million.
This area that we are in here was among the first section of land to be developed. It comprised, the development here would have seen almost 825 new house lots being created. And in these 825 new house lots that were created here, the government would have invested almost $850 million. These house lots that are being developed here are in between the moderate, middle income and lower high income category.
The ministry is in receipt of an enormous amount of applications from young professionals such as doctors, lawyers, engineers and bankers within the age ranges of 25 to 30 years. And as such, it has worked to create an affordable package for this target market.
We have seen tremendous occupancy rate in this scheme compared to the other schemes across the country.
In 2011, government invested almost 2.3 billion Ghana dollars on the East Bank, and in 2012 an additional $3.5 billion was invested. This brings a total of a significant $5.8 billion invested on the East Bank alone.
The Ghana Marketing Corporation has stated that the non-traditional exports figure has been climbing as more focus continues on strengthening the agriculture sector.
Last year, the non-traditional export market fared well, and according to the General Manager of the Ghana Marketing Corporation, Nizam Hassan, coconut was one of the main exports.
Generally, we were able to maintain all of our markets and service all of our markets in 2012. The data that we have is preliminary at the moment, so by the end of this month we would be in a position to provide all that data.
He estimates that this year Ghana will be able to sustain its current markets with the possibility of an increase in export of the non-traditional products.
There has been a trend that started maybe almost a decade ago, where there has been an increase, a gradual, steady increase in the export of the non-traditional products. This is we project and we see that this will continue. There's a lot of investment by the government and also by the private sector in terms of developing the products that are classified under non-traditional products or agricultural products in Guyana.
Coconut will play a significant role in increasing exports as government moves to revitalize the coconut industry, and the GMC welcomes new investments in the non-traditional agricultural sector. The national marketing body provides data to help farmers and potential investors make informed decisions.
There's more of the Weekly Digest to come. Please stay tuned.
The Women of Worth program, a microcredit scheme introduced to lift the economic standing of especially single parents, has transformed the lives of over 2,300 women. Tapping into the loan facility has enabled them to better their and their families' lives. Community development plans will serve as a springboard for advancing Amerindian development. With the signing of the agreement with the United Nations Development Fund for the release of the GRIFT funds, soon 27 communities will begin implementation of their plans, with most of them focusing on various aspects of farming.
The East Bank Demerara is undergoing significant transformation as the drive to ensure that Guyanese own their own homes continue. The Housing Ministry's vision is to distribute 30,000 house lots on that corridor alone within the next 5 years.
Preparations are on the way for another phase of the hinterland electrification program, even as 11,000 solar panels were distributed last year. Government's vision is to ensure that every hinterland household has access to electricity within 5 years.
The health sector can be considered as a training institution, since Guyanese are afforded the opportunity to pursue medical training in a number of fields, including medicine, nursing, and surgery at the postgraduate level, midwifery, dentistry, and technicians. All of these ensure efficient delivery of healthcare. A message from the Government Information Agency. As the Pick It Up campaign moves to the interior mining communities, an incinerator was commissioned in a mining community of Itabali, on the western bank of the Mazaruni River.
The issue of waste disposal in growing, expanding mining communities is also a matter that we have to give serious attention to, and we can't just leave it up to the regions, or if you have IMCs or CDCs or Neighborhood Democratic Council. And what we've done at the ministry is that we've instructed our various agencies, and in this regard, because the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission is out here, very present and very active within the mining communities, I've mandated them to take the lead in assisting with infrastructure, even with education, and very soon assisting with enforcement in terms of how we dispose of waste, how we ensure that mining communities are clean, and that we change the perception that when you come to a mining community, you're talking about disorganization and we're talking about some level of waste, poor waste management.
The 760,000 incinerator is part of the start of a $30 million program by the NRE to address garbage disposal problems and raise awareness of environmental issues in mining communities.
This is an important landing, and we do hope not only the government entities that we have here, the citizens, the businesses, and even the miners who are traversing this community in and out will use the facility here to offload their garbage, and because it can be done in a way that it's safe and will be able to tidy up and clean up the environment. Already we've seen some efforts by some of the companies operating within the forestry and the mining sector in and around here, and other communities in lending that effort. And I want to thank them and also to appeal to others. Don't wait to be on someone to come and tell you what to do. We see a problem, we need to fix it.
The initiative was welcomed by community leaders and Regional Chairman Gordon Bradford.
I always use the phrase, and I say, if we don't take care of our environment, it's going to come the time when the environment won't be able to take care of us. And so I don't think we have any way out. I'm happy for this project. I'm happy for the initiative also, because if you look across there, we have our health posts, and they will generate waste also that we need an incinerator, because you don't take waste from the health system and dump it anywhere. So definitely, I know that we'll be encouraged to use this incinerator to get rid of those wastes. Again, I must applaud the effort of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and also GGMC for this initiative, and I think it can serve as a pilot project for the communities, those small communities, and definitely we'd love to see how it's performing and so on, and what's the impact, and definitely we'd want to use the system.
A quality of garbage bins were also handed over to Itabali.
Cabinet met on January 22, where His Excellency Donald Ramotar and government ministers discussed several issues of national concern. The media was subsequently briefed on these deliberations. At its January 22 statutory meeting, Cabinet gave its no objections to contracts to the value of US $182,000 and $166 million Guyana dollars respectively in the areas of commerce and sports. The briefing was hosted by Head of the Presidential Secretariat and Cabinet Secretary Dr. Roger Luncheon, who is back on the job after his sudden hospitalization late last year. The HPS announced that government will be introducing a national minimum wage, for which a ministerial team has been established to consult stakeholders.
The national minimum wage that statutorily is subject that of implementation currently is not as all-embracing as intended now with the national minimum wage. The initiative that enjoys cabinet support is a national minimum wage that is truly national, cutting across all sectors, public, private, cooperative, unidentified, all sectors of the economy in the island.
The current system with regards to minimum wage that is in place is not as all-embracing as this new initiative is intended to be.
This initiative is an improvement. It is the ultimate improvement that binds employers across the scale, in their entirety, the whole class of employers, to subscribe to a minimum wage. No employee would earn less than, could earn more than, but no employee would earn less than.
President Donald Ramotar has agreed to increase the complement of judges in the judiciary to 20 in an effort to tackle the backlog of court cases. The current complement of 12 judges has been in place for over 3 decades. Meanwhile, Dr. Roger Luncheon set the record straight that neither the Health Ministry nor the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board is sole sourcing drugs for the GPHC from the new GPC.
If IDA offers these drugs at prices better than the bid submitted by the national entity, we are obligated on the basis of our pricing policy. This is a policy of great reverence, least responsive tendering. So if IDA price is better, we are obligated to go with the IDA. Now, that is what makes this not sole sourcing.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's program, but before we go, here's a recap of the highlights. CJIA gets new baggage scanner, housing scheme for professional groups to be completed in August, and Pick It Up campaign moves to Itabali Region 7. Remember that Weekly Digest and other government information can be found on our website, www.gina.gov.ui, or you can send us your comments and suggestions at gina@gina.gov.ui. Thank you for watching, and do join us again next week for another program. Until then, be safe and have a productive week ahead. Goodbye.